The drama never ends in the NHL. There's always something to talk about, plenty to talk about for the Avs and otherwise on today's show. We'll get into where Gabe Landeskog is at. We'll get into what the Avs are doing to get ready for the playoffs. We'll get into a whole lot more, too. And I wanted to start taking a quick look around the league coming up because the Avs don't play today, but there are some relatively meaningful games for the Western Conference and maybe even for the Avs. Dallas is playing Anaheim tonight. I don't know how much you believe in Anaheim or not, but definitely one to watch if you're scoreboard watching for the Avs. And then beyond that, let me ask you guys, Western Conference wildcard matchup, because realistically the top 7 spots in the West are sewed up. Like, sure, maybe the seeding could change, but Minnesota and above, none of those teams are missing the playoffs. Who do you guys have out of Vancouver, St. Louis, Calgary, and Utah to actually get that last wild card spot? Which, by the way, they all play today. Some of them against some pretty good teams. Some of them against just some okay teams.
AJ's not sure. He's like,
Do I have to pick one? It's like going dumpster diving and trying to get a whole meal out of this thing. No, dude, I guess St. Louis. Give me St. Louis, I suppose.
You guess.
I mean, I probably go like this. I will draw at the end. I will draw one, I promise you. But St. Louis, okay. Montgomery comes in, so that's a cool story, right? You know what I mean? Around Christmas, whatever it was. Utah. It's a new franchise, right? They just got to move, and it's their first year in Utah. Calgary, it's a cool story. Nobody picked them. Everybody had them out. Now they're in. And then Vancouver, that's just been an absolute gong show all year long. Like, that's an absolute mess. And they're still there. All right, I'm going to draw it out. Only because it's just purely on a hunch. I'm going to go with Utah Hockey Club. The Hockey Club will make the playoffs.
Blit.
I know.
Blit.
I know.
They're not allowed to make the playoffs, so they pick a name.
I know. The Hockey Club.
Could we have a different approach to this?
Sure.
Yes.
Which of these teams do we most want to make it under the threat of them being a threat to Winnipeg?
Good call. I'll go
Is
first
there
on that one.
I guess Vancouver would be the biggest threat to win. I don't know that they're a real threat, but I guess Vancouver would be the biggest threat. Just because if things go perfect for that team, like if everything goes well, I think they have the highest offensive ceiling of the 4.
I'm gonna go with the Blues, just because of, just like Nicholas says there, my friend Nicholas Rochetti, the Blues. I'm gonna go because of Bennington, fan favorite, Denver fan favorite, Jordan Bennington beating Hellebuck. That's my only hunch.
Yeah, this is really the only reason that I have them to get that playoff spot, is that Bennington is the goaltender that I trust the most out of the 4 involved there. And mostly that's because I think Calgary can't score goals anymore, and they're rapidly sinking. They have like 3 wins in 12 games or something. Like they're collapsing in front of us. It was a good run. Calgary and Columbus on each side. Good stories, good runs. They're not there yet. They were playing above their head, and now they're getting kicked in the teeth, and that sucks. So I guess I would go with St. Louis just because.
Buddy.
I like their top of their forward lineup enough that if they get a little bit hot, they're good. And their goaltender, if Binnington is locked in, then he's the best goalie of the ones that are involved there.
I would say that's a fair take for sure. If Binnington is playing his best, he's the best goalie of the bunch. Honestly, the entire wild card situation in the West is straight up loser point city. Not a single one of these teams have won even half of their games. All of them are skirting by. Vancouver, 11 OT losses. Calgary, 11 OT losses. Utah, 11 OT losses. St. Louis, at least a little bit more respectable with just 7 OT losses. None of those teams are all that good. Like I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to look at this at Avs tinted glasses. St. Louis is the only one with an even goal differential. The rest are well into the negative, and teams like Utah are negative 25 when it comes to the goal differential. That I know we're just talking about which team is the biggest threat to Winnipeg, but it really feels like that 8 seed is a dead team walking coming into these playoffs.
Yeah,
even like
I mean it's.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we saw in the East last year, where the top 7 teams were like, yeah, those are playoff teams. And then the 8th team was like, all right, who's the sacrificial lamb who's going to get rocked in round 1? It ended up being Washington. They got rocked.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But I can see Monty, though. He's such a people person. Just all of a sudden do a big build-up and us against the world and us versus Canada and, you know what I mean? Whatever, something, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden they ride Binnington and they can dethrone AJ's Winnipeg Jets.
I mean, I'd feel good in a world where the Avs make it to round 2 and face St. Louis. I'd feel good.
Sure, why not?
Put it to you that way.
I think a round two series against Winnipeg. I'm going to pick Colorado. I think it'll be an absolute death match. I think it'd be significantly more competitive than last year, but that would be it would be some wonderful hockey. Against St. Louis, I'm picking Colorado in 5.
Yeah. Wouldn't be that one you have to think about all that much. Wouldn't go that way. I'll put it to you like that. It is what it is. Obviously, we're a little bit more in tune with the West, but you were talking about the East before the start of the show. Big day for Montreal today. They're playing. They're currently 1 point out of a playoff spot, but have a couple games in hand in the East. Do we have picks for the East? Do the Rangers hold on to that last spot? Can Detroit or Columbus make it a conversation? Can Montreal get in? Who you got?
I'm going to go with my friends, the Montreal Canadiens. The hype is there right now. It's fun. They're excited. The city's excited. The radio shows are popping and they're pumped and they're so negative usually, but they're all positive now. They're all going for it, pulling for Can't Use and Jeff Gordon. I think they're great people, and that'd be fun. It'd just be fun. I want to see the Montreal Canadiens back in the playoffs for a real playoffs, not the bubble crap and you know what I mean, like whatever that was. A real season where you dig, you fight, and you get into playoffs, and it'd be exciting. Again, Rangers have just been such a crap show, all kind of like Vancouver in the East, in the West. I mean, where it's just nothing. It's just always been negative. Everything's been negative, and I don't know. Pulling for the Montreal Canadiens, obviously big game tonight with Ottawa. Ottawa, I mean, that's a story in itself, right? They've been awesome. Exactly. Steve Stais, they go in there, and obviously a new coaching staff, Travis Green, and so again. Fun to see a little bit of a rivalry again, Ottawa and Montreal, because it's like a 2-hour drive, not even. It's right there. And, I mean, God, I'm going to be watching that game for sure tonight. Absolutely, I'll be watching that game.
Oh, yeah.
You got a pick in the East, AJ, or are you boring and going to take the Rangers?
No, I don't believe in this Rangers team at all, man.
Me neither.
For whatever reason, they just don't seem to have it, and I think that the teams that are chasing are like desperate for it. Between Montreal, Detroit, and Columbus, again, Columbus is not. I think Columbus is done. The writing has kind of been on the wall for them for a little while, but we all want that to keep happening. Give me the Islanders. I'll take the
Oh
Islanders.
my God, this guy.
No, I'm just kidding. I really do. I've been the person who is too high on the Canadiens for years, so I'm just going to continue to ride that. Nick Suzuki rocks. Their defense is fun. Someday, people are going to understand that Caden Goulet is one of the most underrated defensemen in the entire NHL. And how can you not love just the Marty St. Louis chaos factory actually having a little bit of success? I think as soon as they get to the postseason, they're going to get smoked, but that's fine. They're in a position in their like rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it. They're in that position right now where just get there, get the experience, understand what it is to be there, and it's not just chasing it all the time. That you get to experience it for a couple of games, and it'll be invaluable to them, the same way that it was invaluable to Colorado back in 2018. And like you're talking about a really fun Habs team, and I think it's easy to hate on the original six teams because fans of non-original six teams get really, really sick of hearing about them. But they're fun. They're a fun organization right now. They don't reek of that hubris and arrogance that has plagued the Canadiens in the past. And I just to me they are the team that deserves it. They have built through a lot of youth. They've built through a lot of up and coming. And you look at the Rangers, they don't. That team looks like it hates each other. And Detroit has spent a ton of money on veteran players to try and steal an eighth seed in a down year out east. Bleh. I don't want any of that rewarded. Go Canadians.
I'm here for that. I'm not
What
not
else
going to
did you
complain.
forget? You gave them a bunch of stuff. You forgot about one thing. One thing. Dig. Jeff Gordon. Chat. Can't use. BU hockey parents, buddy. All right, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You're
it.
right.
That's it.
I
That's
got
it.
AJ picking the Islanders and E picking BU guys. Come on, give me a break.
We all have brands to live up to here, all right, buddy?
And I'm from there.
The last thing I wanted to touch on in this, and this is totally off the cuff, not a planned segment really, but who do you guys think is the biggest fraud team that's going to make the playoffs? Just off the top of your head.
I gotta look.
I have one question. I know I do this to you all the time, and I'm so sorry, but one.
You can't say both. This is not a both question. We're fine.
Do the Dallas Stars have Miro Heiskanen?
Someone in chat earlier just said it sounds like they might not have him for round one.
Yeah. So Pete DeBoer said today. Pete DeBoer said we think he's probably going to miss round one, or he might miss round one.
Sure.
So if that is the case, Dallas is the fraud. If they get Miro Heiskanen back, even mid-series, even in like game 3 or game 4 or whatever, they're not the fraud. Okay. It's really hard. It's really hard for me not to look at Washington.
That was my pick.
It's really I think the problem is when you say fraud is that you're implying that somebody's like bad, right?
Yeah, I didn't mean it that aggressively, for sure.
Yeah, it's
not
just,
for real.
It's just Washington has caught every break, every single thing has gone correct for them. And we know, based on the NHL's entire history, that stuff like that very, very, very rarely continues in the postseason. You get course corrected so hard.
Look,
come Stanley Cup playoff time.
Alex Ovechkin is going to score 894 with 2 games left in the season, and that team is going to go to sleep. He's going to break the record, and that team is going to collapse in on itself. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's something to the idea that they're being propped up with the Great Chase right now.
Yeah.
And I just also, I'm a numbers nerd, and I look at the percentages, and I go, holy, this is not going to continue.
Not sustainable.
It never does. Every year, you get a team that rides these percentages. And right now, Washington and Winnipeg, for the record, are both doing it. But Every year those teams do that, and their fan bases go, well, they're just real. You just don't believe that this is just their formula. And it's like, yeah, getting lucky as hell is not a formula that works come postseason time. Girl, stop. So
I
both of them,
know.
really.
I know you got to pay bills, so I'm gonna stick with the chat. Was it Cujo there? Carolina is the fraud in the East. That's my pick.
Okay.
All right. Good answers. I want to get into a couple other things, but we got to pay some bills first. Jump in with the go get over with our presenting sponsor in Bet365. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up for a new account. You can go in there, you put in $10, you bet $5 on anything, you get $150 in bonus bets with Bet365 right now. March Madness right around the corner now. Bunch of great bets you can get in with March Madness. Of course, you can bet on the Avs too. The NHL has early payouts. If you get a 3-goal lead for the team you pick to win, you get paid out immediately. You don't have to wait for the end of the game. So go pick someone to take over a game and get yourself some easy money when it comes to Bet365. Again, be sure to use that DNVR365 code when you sign up with Bet365. You get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 on anything, win or lose. You don't even have to get the bet right to get those bonus bets. So jump in. Of course, the bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Of course, terms and conditions apply. And if you won yourself a little bit of money with Bet365, it's always a great time to choose chill. Go pick yourself up some Coors Light today and choose chill. Between work, what we see on social media, and the many choices life throws our way, it's no wonder people are increasingly worked up. But we don't have to let that noise ruin our chill. Whether it's making new friends at the tailgate or shoveling snow off your stadium seat, you can cheer on your team. That's when you choose chill and reach for Coors Light. Again, the mountains on the can or the bottle turn blue to let you know Coors Light is ice cold. And if you're an introvert like me and don't like going places, you can get it delivered right to your front door thanks to CoorsLight.com/DNVR and Instacart. So jump in and choose chill even when you're chilling at home, whether you're doing a grill out or you're going somewhere for a tailgate. They've got you fully covered over at Coors Light. Highly recommend. You'll see me drinking them on the watch-alongs. Always a good time, brewed right here in Colorado, too. So jump in with them. Choose chill this winter. And, well, winter's almost over, so you can choose chill this spring, too. And then reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered, again, with CoorsLight.com/DNVR. You can get it right to your front door, or you can get it pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365. All right. Let's talk Gabe Landeskog. And I'm not here to tell you there's a bunch of solid information out there about where Gabe Landeskog is at in his recovery or what a return potentially looks like if it even happens. But over the last couple of weeks, this documentary has started to come out. There have been interviews. It certainly sounds like Gabe Landeskog thinks something is going to try. There's going to be some sort of an effort to make this happen. Let's start with this question. Do you guys really believe we're going to see Gabe Landeskog play a game these playoffs?
Yes.
2 yeses.
Yes.
All right.
I don't know if
Say
it'll
good
be
stuff.
multiple games. I don't know if it'll be an entire series, but I think he's going to play at least one game. I think he's going to give. I think we're 3 years into this. Colorado, just from a planning perspective, Colorado needs to know because,
Yep.
I had this conversation on Twitter the other day. It kind of blew my mind. They can't just give him the summer and then hope that it goes okay in the offseason. $7 million. That's Brock Nelson's money, for example. If they were going to try to re-sign Brock Nelson, right? Like that's like money that they absolutely need to try to spend. And if they're like, oh, hey, we're going to give him the entire summer, we're going to let him work his way back through October, there's no guarantee he gets through 5 games in October. He gets 5 games in, and then he calls it quits. You just have $7 million sitting there. You can't do anything with it because you don't have any trade assets left. You need to know. You just need to. I just think that they have to have some sort of resolution here. If he gets through an entire postseason and says, "Okay, I'm good," then great. You plan for him to be in your lineup next year, and he's in your lineup, and then you go from there. If he gets through, he plays in the postseason and says he can't do it, then he retires, and then you have that $7 million to do something with, and you know what you're doing then. Like, you have a little bit of certainty with your control, your salary cap controls, and a lot of contracts in the next 2 years, that a lot of big contracts that you need to sort out. So you kind of need to know which way he's going, but just for him, he spent 3 years at this. He just needs it. I think he needs to know more than anything else. He needs to figure it out, and this is the only way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick to the one line he said the other day, because I told you guys, he told me last year when I ran into him in town, which was, I got to see this thing through. You know what I mean? And I think, forget about make it 2 halves instead of like 3 years. Make it like the first half was more like didn't know what was going on, try to figure out what was, oh, maybe he'll come back. Oh, maybe he's coming back for playoffs. Remember, he's skating, and it's like, oh boy. I mean, if you know him, you're like, yeah, no, he's far away from making a comeback. You know what I mean? Like, not even close. But people were just like, oh God, he's on the ice, and now make it the second half, and that's why I said, those are the words out of his mouth, not mine. I gotta see this thing through, for my mental health, for my own sanity, for the team, for the fans, for my teammates, and then you do the operation, right? And again, there's no what do you call that? There's no examples like that, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to compare it to, right? You're not too sure how that's going to go. And now he's into his rehab. And then this year, if you look at him, he's tried not to be a distraction. Obviously, clearly been skating. It doesn't take a rocket science to see that he's been skating. He's been skating. And I'm not talking about the 4 or 5 times you've seen him at morning skate for flicking a puck in the stands. I'm talking about he's really he looks good. He looks way better than when they were saying, oh my God, he might play in this round. And it's like, man, like, guys, he's not even going more than 12%. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? So he clearly looks good. He clearly looks like he's on the path to be there for playoffs. I believe he plays in playoffs? Yeah. Do I believe he plays early in playoffs? Yes. I'm like AJ. I don't know how that's going to go. No one knows how that's going to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say how it's going to go. I cross my finger and my fingers, and I hope that he plays 20-something games, because that means the Avalanche did well and he did well. But again, just seeing him out there, just going out there, just even for one shift, for me, that will be mission accomplished. You know what I mean? And obviously, I'm hoping for 20-some games in the playoffs, and then be there next year as well. Obviously, he's one of my all-time favorites. Do I believe he will play? To answer Rudo's question, yes. Do I believe it will be early in the playoffs? Yes. But like AJ, to what extent, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. And you talk about an emotional lift for a team. It doesn't get better than that.
I mean, Gabe himself said, he kind of feels sorry for whatever defenseman he's forechecking on his first shift back out there, because he's got a couple of years coming to that poor guy. So, that's it will be an amazing emotional lift. Yeah.
It's certainly an emotional lift when you're talking about the caliber of play you may or may not get out of Gabe Landeskog. I'm less interested in that. I think you'd be crazy to expect he's anywhere near the same player he was before he got injured. But my real question is, what does this runway look like? You talked about it. Landy has gone on the record saying, hey, he chose to do a lot of this privately. He's been skating a lot on his own, but we are now essentially a month away from the start of the playoffs. At what point do you need him to start getting into proper practices with the team to have him ready to go?
I'll answer right away. Look no further than this trip. He's on the trip, and they're bringing everyone. Why? For all the reasons, right? You want people around the team. You're getting close to playoffs. You're getting close to, I know you don't always practice, but at least you're with the team. You're with the coaches. You're doing extra, not on your own, but with the staff. I think your presence is important. I don't care if it's Gabe or Josh Manson, for example. You know what I mean? I think leadership is important to have everyone around. It's important to, there's some new guys, there's some new characters. It's important that everyone knows one another on top of obviously playing well together with one another. I think it's important that everyone is just on the same page and there's nothing missing. And, you want to get one group going, sure, it gives you a bigger group, a little more logistical nightmare for Aaron and all that stuff, but it's all good. This is the time of year where you stick together and you want to make sure you are all good to go once playoff starts, and you're good to go for, obviously, a big run like the Avalanche are well suited for right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about like what role is he going to play, I mean, I think the easy answer here is you try him out on your third line, right?
Sure.
Like we're not talking about this guy coming in and being the top line guy that he was for you when he got hurt. Like you try him out on your third line, maybe even your fourth line for the first game or two. You let him test it out, um, and you feel like, hey, we'll see how this goes. We don't have super high expectations that he's going to come in and be such a game changer for us. It's been years since he's played, like years. Like it
Yep.
really isn't a fair expectation for him to come in and be that kind of guy. The last time he played was in June of 2022. Like
Yep.
it will be
Literally
almost
3 years.
3 full years. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you talk about this runway. When does he needs to start taking contact in the next? I
Week.
would say in
Yeah.
the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like because Colorado season ends like so early, bizarrely. They have like that extra week
Yeah.
between when their season ends and the postseason starts. That will help them. But I would say if he's not taking contact on April 1st, I'm gonna start getting like a little iffy, right?
Sure.
On like, is he really gonna make this thing happen in round one? But certainly, I mean, it seems like obvious to say, right? But he has to by the time game 82 rolls around, he has to be like a regular participant in practice.
Full participant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
Yeah,
yeah.
a
not this
regular
do
full
one drill
participant.
type thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So,
Not two drills, but every drill. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. The other side of that is pre-trade deadline. It was a pretty easy conversation. The Avs had some holes in the bottom of their lineup. You felt like it was easy to just scratch a guy and drop Gabe Landeskog in. But today, with what we've seen, who are you realistically scratching to put Landy in the lineup? Obviously, Parker Kelly has played great as of late. You're not going to sit someone like LOC from a teammate standpoint, or maybe you are. I'll leave it open to you. I think AJ will probably go the same route I have. To me, it's pretty easy for Kivy to be the odd one out here, but he loves his cat, so I'm curious. I'm curious who catches the short straw here for Landy.
I think it's Parker Kelly. Like, I
Okay.
think Kiviranta drops from the third line to the fourth line. However we might feel about Yoel Kiviranta, the reality is that he's produced throughout this season where other guys have not. His defensive play has been excellent. He's been very good on the penalty kill. Um, I'm keeping Logan O'Connor in because despite some of the struggles that he's had offensively, big shock. Um, you're talking about one of the league's best defensive wingers, like one of the absolute tip top best defensive wingers in the NHL, and one of the very best penalty killers uh, for a PK unit that's been pretty good for like 4 months now. So I'm just not taking LOC out. I love Parker Kelly at wing. He's been so much better, and this is exactly the guy that I thought that they were going to see this year until we wasted all this time pretending he was a center. But I just I think it should be a Kivi Ranta Drury, Logan O'Connor fourth line, and a, a Gabe Landeskog, Charlie Coyle, Ross Colton third line.
Pretty good
Like I
third
think
line.
that's the alignment. I'm not going to die on any hill here If
Sure.
it ends up being Parker Kelly stays and Logan O'Connor goes out, I'm going to disagree with it, but it's not, there isn't any one like alignment that strikes me as like, well, this is the obvious right answer. It's just like, no, these guys have played so well lately, and this was Eric's whole point at the deadline. The improved competition on the roster has brought out the best in some and not the best in others, and that became your big separator. These guys have all been great.
And let's not pretend that if the Avs do succeed and go on a deep run, guess what? A bunch of those forwards are going to get in as injuries
Of
pile up
course.
throughout the playoffs. So
Yeah, Kiviranta will probably be back in Landeskog's spot within 2 or 3 games, and when Landy retires.
Pay your bills there, and then I'll have one more comment after.
all right. Let's pay some bills. As 75% of chat says Landy is coming back. If you want to get yourself back into some sports, that's where Volo comes in. Volo is Denver's most popular adult social sports leagues. You can do pickup games. They've got events. They've got tournaments. Whatever it is with sports, you name it, they've got you covered. They got sports like soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and a whole bunch more. Whatever it is, if you're just looking to get out and have a good time, socialize a little bit, you can get with Volo all over Colorado. Lodo, Rhino, Highlands, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, more. They're even in a bunch of other cities around the country, too, if you're not from Colorado. So make sure you're checking out your local Volo leagues. Best part is afterward, they come to the DNVR bar and drink. They even got like flip cup leagues and stuff. So jump in with Volo today. You can meet new people, make new friends, be social, or just come out and enjoy some sports and fun way to be active. Jump in with them. Players can sign up as a free agent, small group, or full team today at all ability levels and backgrounds. You can use code DNVR10 to get $10 off any Volo Denver league today. Go get with Volo and get out there, get exercise, and have some fun playing some sports and socializing with Volo. Once you've enjoyed your sporting, maybe go to some sporting. That's where Game Time comes into play. Make sure you're jumping in with a Game Time today. You can use code DNVR when you sign up to get $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. They get you tickets to everything. Yes, sporting events, obviously, but also theater, concerts, movies, you name it. They can get you in just about anywhere in the country. So jump in with Game Time today. Make sure you're getting your tickets through them. You can use their Game Time Picks feature to get the best seats for the best prices based on your search parameters. They'll cut out all the junk and show you the best deals. Highly recommend. If you haven't used them before, go try it out. Go see how it works. You can get great deals when it comes to Game Time, whether that's waiting for last-minute tickets or just finding the right deal along the way. Game Time has you covered with that Game Time Picks feature. Jump in with them. Make sure you're checking out all your options with Game Time, whether it's going to an Avs game or, baseball's almost back. Coors Field, the best bar in Denver. That's what they say. We'll see. I don't know. Jump in again. Make sure you're using Game Time to get your tickets, and that DNVR code will get you $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms apply, but when you use that account, use code DNVR. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time, baby. Alrighty. What are your thoughts on that lineup?
I'm going to take it even further on what you were talking about. Again, I'm knocking on, like I always do, wood, right? Not Miles Wood, but real wood for injuries, or I should say Wedgwood, Blackwood. So I'm knocking on wood. Yeah, it could be Kelly. It could be Kiviranta. And I'm going to take it a step further. It's what you bring to the lineup and what you bring to the piece of the pie you've been given, right? How are you responding to that? Now, with that said, again, we're assuming Gabe would be flying and playing well and obviously contributing. You know what I mean? That's after his first game or second game, right? If Ross Colton, a guy like that, is not producing, is not going, maybe that's the guy that falls off. I am telling you, like you saw Burakovsky in the playoffs. You saw guys like that. I mean, it's all what you think is going to, and it's not a knock on Ross. I'm saying it's how you feel the puzzle is going to be working at that time. And I feel that it's a question of fit and feel. And again, that fourth line for me right now is like, it would break my heart to break that up because they're so freaking dominant. They're so doing the right things and given the right opportunities and the answer to the challenge, and they can play limited minutes, meaning like they're not playing 20 minutes, but they're certainly not playing 5 minutes. And then they got tough assignments. So yeah, sometimes you got to make tough decisions in lineups. And, I was using Ross, meaning why wouldn't you have Landeskog, Coyle, and LOC, for example? You know what I mean? Like that's pretty good too, right? I'm just saying. So I think we'll have to see how everything reacts and how everybody's playing. And there's no hard feelings in playoffs, man. It's about winning, right? You can be about winning, or you can say you're about winning, and you got to make what's best for your lineup that day.
Yep. Whoever it is in the lineup, make it work. We usually wait to the end for these, but Pin King has a very relevant super chat here that I wanted to touch on. He gave us $5 and asked, can Landy play with the Eagles for a couple of rehab games without a problem? As long as he gets those games in before the playoffs, he can go on a conditioning stint. However, he's not eligible to play in the AHL playoffs.
So the conditioning stint, 3 games, 6 days.
Yep.
That's it. You can't have, it's not like baseball where you get a month of a conditioning stint or some nonsense. He's got a week to do it. Just in case you're curious, the Eagles have games. So the Avs finish their schedule on April 13th. The Eagles play on April 16th, April 18th, and April 19th, depending on Colorado's postseason schedule. They could do that. The thing is, those games are all on the road. If Landy wanted to get in a conditioning stint without having to really travel, April 11th and April 12th, they're at home. The Eagles are at home, just as the Avs are finishing. That way, Landy's not out on the road playing the Tucson Roadrunners while the team is doing all of its practicing and playoff prep. So if you're going to see a conditioning stint, to me, it makes the most sense to do it April 11th and April 12th in Loveland. And then the Gabe Landeskog Colorado Eagles jersey becomes the ultimate collector's item.
The ultra rare jersey right there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. You kind of gave me a great transition piece into our next topic here as you're talking about the Avs playoff prep. I want to pick your brain on this. Obviously, you've done it as a player. You've done it as part of the front office. I want to start very simply, though. And this is a conversation we have a lot. Look no further than last season. Regular season head-to-head results really don't mean a lot when it comes to the playoffs. But the Avs did just play Dallas the other day. What do the Avalanche as a front office take from a game like that heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, oh boy. So it's kind of nice right now for the Avs staff. And again, every team's different. I'll speak on general terms here. If you look at the standings, for example, you feel bad for the Winnipeg Jets, right? Because we just talked about in the first segment of the show, it could be 4 opponents or whatever it is, right? So then you're like, well, who is it? And then every day you wake up, it's different. You know what I mean? So it kind of easier if you're, for example, Dallas. Would you believe that? What would you say? 85, 90% gonna be Colorado. I mean,
very, very high likelihood. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it makes it easier for the staff of Colorado, for the staff of Dallas, where all of a sudden you'll look at stuff from the season because you'll pull out the data, right? You'll pull out obviously the lineups, and you'll pull out who was playing, with who, what the combos were. You'll pull out a bunch of stats like that. But what you'll really be doing is, if you're doing that, for example, it's good. For example, Colorado just played Dallas a couple days ago, but usually you have a different, lineup post deadline, right? You know what I mean? So that those 2 games before don't count. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a totally different lineup. Or you had Georgiev in the net, not, Blackwood or whatever it is. Or the Avs were on a back-to-back and Dallas was rested, or vice versa. I won't be biased. They go, the Avs were rested and Dallas were on a 3 and 4. And so you'll really dig in, and I think what you'll do is deploy, your pro guys. A lot of times you'll have one dedicated guy, and for example, I'll give you an example of me working with the Calgary Flames. What series was that, guys? Cale Makar's first playoff series. What is that? 8, 19, 20?
Yeah, it would have been 19.
19.
Yeah, 19.
So working with Calgary, and then obviously being from Denver. Being based out of Denver, it was easy for me. And the Avs had a pretty good series of home games, you know what I mean, in Denver. So it kind of worked out nice. And you park yourself, and all you do is you just follow that team. And you got to know everything about that team. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's wife is probably due in labor here within 3 weeks. Like I'm just saying, everything goes, everything that you can get. Where do you get that best information? Is usually being present in press boxes and being present and talking around the league to different things. And I'm not saying guys will spill beans. I'm just saying some guys over talk. They just can't themselves, and then they talk. They can't help themselves, and all of a sudden, some info comes out. Then for example, the Calgary series was very simple. Like, who is this Cale Makar, right? And then you're like, wow, okay. And then you do the math, and when is he really realistically would come? You know what I mean? Like, meaning, would he be there for game one, game two, whatever? B, realistically, can he play in the NHL now? Like, is he going to make a difference? And then C, yeah, to what extent is he playing in their lineup? And I tell you guys that story all the time. It was Billy Peters and was the coach in Calgary, and my job was to make sure I knew everything about the Avs, and which I did, and I was all ready. And then you'll spend maybe a couple hours with the coaches. Either you'll fly into the city, or that was more back then. Nowadays, you can do something like this, or a Zoom, or relay the information via a computer, and they'll have all the analytics, obviously, that you could get your hands on right away. But the eye tests of what you see, and during the games, what you've seen during down the stretch. If you remember that stretch, Tyson Barrie was, I think, outstanding down the stretch. Was Barrie there? Or, yeah, he was there in 19, right?
Yep.
I think it was Barrie and Mikko that were outstanding, and Nate was not good, the last 10 games. And then you're like, hey, listen, is this going to stick that way? But this is who's carrying this team right now. And then the big question right away was, who is this Cale Makar, like I just talked about? And the answer was, well, okay, I talked to his college coach, which happened to be my sentiment in college. And, I've never seen the kid play live. I've seen him play on TV maybe once or twice. This is what his coach had to say, A, B, C, D. And E, he believes he can be a difference maker in this playoff, in this round against, us, the Calgary Flames. And then right away, if you're the opposition coach, which is Bill Peters, same thing. Like, really? I mean, how good can he be, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, but I heard he's really, really good. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and then you never know until the guy puts his, skates on the ice and absolutely just dominates the first game. And you're like, okay, he is really, really, really good. You know what I mean? Like, his college coach was right. You know what I mean? So, and then the Avs are right for picking him, and or whatever. It was a blessing to get the fourth pick and not win the lottery. Who knows if they would have picked him, right? I mean, that would be a different conversation one day. We should have a pot on that. Really, were they taking him at one? Or, but come on, tell the truth here. Spell exactly. Probably not. So I think you dig deep a lot on the team. You dig deep. To me, I'm not going to lie. I would go to Family Sports and, like, go watch practices in between games. And I did that on the road too. I think a lot of places it gets closed in playoffs, you know what I mean? Because people don't want to see, but if it's open, there's nothing wrong. It's not illegal. You go sit in there and watch, and you watch how people respond. You watch, are they pouty? Are they mad? Are they sad? Are they mad right now because he's not in this line or those line mates, or he's not on first power play? And then, so any tidbit of information you can get on what you think will be and how they're gonna, play their guys. Is this guy coming back? Is this Landeskog really coming back? Right? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I've been at practices. He's flying, and when he's at practice, he's wearing a jersey with this guy and that guy. He hasn't played games. We all know that, but all that type of stuff, I think it's very important. I think it's very important to use the analytics on top of it. I think it's very important to get the input of your goalie coach, which will have a meeting with the players about their goalies, the opposition's goaltenders. You will look at tendencies. You'll have videos. Coaches will have video coach. We'll have a bunch of stuff, face-offs, entries. What do they do on lost draws, win draws, neutral zone forechecks, set forechecks. They'll have everything. And I think as a coach, the guys have the attention spans of 4-year-olds. So you got to make sure that your video is not like 22 minutes long. You'll lose the guys, but it's important to have a day or two to get prepared about the opposition. And sometimes a lot of coaches will get the players involved, and they'll be like, "Hey, AJ, we're playing Dallas. You got Jamie Benn. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about 3-4 minutes on each guy, and Rudo, you're going to have this player, that Eiskanen, Eric, you're gonna have this guy," and it's funny. And back then, some of the Russians like Valery Kaminsky, he was the best. He used to always be shy, and his player report was always the same for any round, any playoff series, any team, any player was the same. Good skitter, good passer, good skitter. So it was the best. But yeah, it's funny. Everything goes, and you can say like, yeah, this guy takes bad penalties. You can suck him into taking some bad penalties. So everything you do counts. Everything you do matters. So that's why playoff hockey is so fun.
The other thing I wanted to dive in here on, Eddie, is obviously the data collection side when your pro scouting team is doing that all year, right? And maybe you're laser focusing in on one team or another more lately. But when does that information really start coming into effect? Because we're still a month away from the playoffs here. The Avs don't play Dallas again in that time. But when does the team and front office really start digging into that data and start implementing things, whether that be in practice or play style or adjustments that they want to make? Does that start happening in this last month, or does that not till the season is over, essentially?
No, for me, if you're to give you an answer, it'd be more like as soon as the season's over, this is what we're concentrating. And then obviously they've built their file. What's his name there? Brett in the video department, and they'll start building their stuff, and they'll start having files. And some teams will go up to and make even booklets or PowerPoint presentations, and usually you have a couple games to get yourself ready, right? You have a couple days to get yourself ready. So you could have a non-practice day, right? You know what I mean? And no practice. We're there, but we're going over special teams that day, and then we're going to go over some analytics, of what Dallas has done, especially since post-trade deadline, because now they have a guy named Mikko Rantanen. They didn't have him before, right? So obviously the data's all different now. The lines are all different. So, and then the next day it's, I don't know. Next day could be 5-on-5 play, and then like face-offs, and then you get videos on that, and then and then the next day it's about their players. Like you obviously they have a cook now. They have Chef John in there and his staff to get a nice meal, and then you can go over their roster. You know what I mean? So AJ talks about Jamie Benn. You talk about whoever I gave you, Eiskanen, and and it's fun. You know what I mean? And it gets you involved, and it's all Dallas, 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 Dallas. Everything is Dallas. That's what you're thinking about. And then the analytics that you gathered from your team, Parnas and his team will give you so maybe in those practices you'll talk about zone entries, because you know what I mean. I'm using something very stupid here, but the soft dump really works against Dallas because of this, that we saw in analytics. So let's work on our entries there in practice, and we want the soft dump to go on the left side, not the right side, or use the left side, which means that their right side is not as good as we know. We talk about the right side of their D, right? We had that one year in Detroit. We were saying let's dump the puck on Nick Lidstrom and let's go kill him. And that didn't go well. After 3-4 games, you're like, what are we doing? I'm like, why are we dumping the puck on his side? Let's dump it away from him. We don't want him to get the puck because we can't hit him, So anyway, sometimes you'll adjust on the fly. You'll have adjustments, right? That's what you hear about adjustments, in between periods, between games, or even between series. And I tell you one thing, you go 7 games and then you have 36 hours before the next game, then good luck having all that info in between 2 rounds. It's nuts. It's impossible. But for the first round, it's easy because you kind of know who you're going to play, and then you usually have a few days to implement all that and to get your team ready. So it's kind of fun. But it's if you go 7 and then you don't know who you're playing, and the other series is going 7, and then the league throws you a Sunday afternoon start, and you just finished Friday. It's like, oh God. Good luck with all that info.
I can't believe that an NHL team thought dumping the puck on Nick Lidstrom was the way to go. That is a hard lesson learned.
Hard lesson learned, buddy. As we figure it out after, we're like, dude, that's not the way to go. That's not the way. We're all laughing. We're like, throw it at his partner. We have a better chance of that guy coughing it up.
Look, if there's any other teams out there watching, please dump the puck to Cale Makar.
Yeah.
We would appreciate that a lot.
Don't dump it
So-
to Ryan Lindgren. That does not work, guys. It does
Stay away from
not
that.
work. Ryan Lindgren will get it out of there every time.
Yeah, well,
It's-
exactly. Right? Exactly.
And I think this is important information to go over, though, too, right? Because I do think there are, especially maybe newer fans, don't realize how much work goes in behind the scenes to
Crazy.
preparing for a playoff series. Because,
Crazy.
like, in the regular season, there's a lot going on. Not that you aren't preparing for every single game, but especially in parts of the season where those games start to stack up,
Oof.
you're just going game by game. You get into a proper 7-game series, and there is a ton of underlying work underneath that.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, how much preparation are the Avs doing for Ottawa this week? Like, they played Toronto the night before, they're in
Right.
Ottawa, and then they're out, right?
Yeah.
They're not seeing this team again. That's it. Like, there's only going to be like, all right, guys, like here's some of their basics. Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk are pretty good, so watch out for those guys, and don't put the puck on Thomas Chabot's stick. Okay, go.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, but in a
You're right,
best of
though.
7, like in a best of 7, it's like, hey, you want to know absolutely everything about it. Oh, hey, we're gonna put Jamie Benn on our power play faceoff on the first unit because he's gonna be he's gonna be going against Charlie Coyle on the other side. It's strength on strength that increases the best odds that we have of winning that faceoff. So we're gonna put Charlie Coyle. They're gonna put Charlie Coyle out there. So we're gonna put Jamie Benn out there for that faceoff. Like, it's going to be all the little details, all the minutia that the nerds get super excited about during the regular season. But it's like we talk about line matching and all that stuff constantly. I also couldn't help but wonder the other day if Jared
You're
Bednar
taking the
was
topics right out of my brain, buddy.
if Jared Bednar wasn't like, I'm not playing any hands against you. I'm going to put my fourth line out against your top line, and we'll just see how it goes. And then as it
Yep.
continued to go well, he was like, I'm just going to keep doing this.
Maybe this is my
And-
hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it
Like,
is.
right.
I
like
think it is.
But was it when he did it the first couple of times, or was
Probably
he just
not.
like,
Let's
and then
just
it
see.
went well, so they were
Yeah.
like, we're just going to keep doing this. This works just great. So, yeah, like those
Yeah.
those types of little like that chess match, when you see it in a best of 7s, like we saw it in Winnipeg last year. That was one of the reasons why it went so well for Colorado, because they were like, yeah, Logan Stanley, it's fine. Oh, this Lowry guy, he's the Nathan McKinnon stopper, as Nathan McKinnon proceeds to have 4 points. You know, you're like the ins and outs of that, but those ins and outs don't fall out of the sky. It's all prep. You know,
Yep.
there's all, okay, here's how we're starting, but then here's what we want to pivot to, plans B, C, and D, just in case.
Yeah.
And then don't forget on face-offs as well. They'll study all the face-offs, and you know what I mean. Like, you'll study all their sentiment, and you'll have all the draws from the last 2 months and the tendencies. And look, he just likes to tie you up and just push you backwards or whatever it is. You know what I mean? There's so many things that you can see, and it's the amount of work you put in. Right? I mean, of course, there's everything at your disposition, but if you don't use it, then you're an absolute buffoon, right? You know what I mean? And then you're not prepared as a team, as individuals, and it usually shows. I think the Avalanche are a well-prepared team. I think they're, like I said, so much is so much, though. You got to be careful, right? Because it's overload. It does exist. Unless, like I told you guys before, Peter Forsberg, he was the best. Forsberg would be like, you'd be going through a whole meeting like this, and obviously not playoff, but regular season, it's like that, but just divided by 20, and then all morning you're, you know what I mean, the practice the day before you talk about San Jose, and that morning it's San Jose's power play and PK, and and then before the game it's the meeting about 5-on-5 and face-offs and their roster, and then 10 minutes before you get on the ice, then Peter Forsberg's looking at the board and he's like, San Jose, huh? I thought we were playing Dallas. Shoot. And then you go out there and get 5 points and you're like, you got to be freaking kidding me. You know what I mean? Like, here you are, you're studying everything, you're looking at everything, and and then he gets 5 points, and you're like, I'll be damned, So yeah, that was Forsberg for you.
Must be nice being that good. Must be nice.
I know.
Uh,
Overloads.
the other side of this, and kind of what you're talking about there, E. I do think it's worth noting. The Avs have been there and done this before. They understand what a deep playoff run, what a successful playoff run looks like with this core. And look, I'll be honest. Not that experience means nothing. I do think experience matters a little bit. But when it comes to the players, I think at times it gets overblown. I do think, however, it matters for your front office. The Avs front office, the Avs scouting staff, obviously there's been a few changes, but for the most part, that front office knows what a successful run looks like. That front office knows what it should be looking at to help their core of players be ready as they can for not just a playoff series, but a playoff run that they hope goes pretty far.
Yeah, also, I mean, I think that's a great point, but also you do look at, as much as the roster has changed for the Avs this year, how many of these guys don't have playoff experience?
None.
It's like they're goalies, right?
Yeah, just Blackwood. Like technically Wedgwood has played in the playoffs, but in relief.
And it's like Sam Malinsky. Like is the skater that you would be able to look at and say, not that guy. But otherwise, Brock Nelson, Charlie Coyle, Martin Necas, those guys have played a lot of playoff games.
Deep playoff runs on their record, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of, all right, we understand that this is the second season. When we get into this, we're ready to go. We know how to do this.
Yeah.
It's a fair point.
Did Sam play last year? Sam didn't play in the playoffs last year, Sam?
Did he get a game or two? I can't remember.
I honestly...
I'll look.
I thought he played, didn't he? Maybe I'm wrong.
He does not have a postseason game on record.
No games.
Oh, all right, he was scratched. Okay, yeah, he got to be too long of a series.
Jack Johnson was just too good to let out of the lineup.
So I guess Sam Malinsky and Keith Middleton this year.
Somebody in chat was asking. Yes, the answer is it was Valerie Kaminsky that hit. They made the change in the goal padding after that goal against Dallas. That I believe never counted. Puck went in and out around the padding at the start of the net there. Cost my old man a lot of money there, at least $75,000. I think he went through the door. He went through the door of the video replay. Like he actually knocked the door frame down. So there's a rule named after him after that. You cannot go near the video replay booth.
Yeah, well. Better going there than John Tortorella trying to actually fight everybody he sees at intermission.
Let him have it.
I mean, I'm fine. I don't know if he's going to win those fights, but he's trying.
Yeah, I mean, he might win. How many of them are you going to win before he's finally tired? This is like the old conversation of how many third graders could you fight in one room with no weapons or anything? At some point, you're just going to get tired, and those kids are going to get you. Let Torts at it. I don't know how many he's going to take, but at some point he will succumb.
Father time comes for us all, I guess.
That's just energy, man. He needs if there's no break, he's going to lose at some point.
Yep. Hey, E, let me ask you one more question here, and you can kind of give us the short answer as we're winding down. When you are the Avs and you have a highly likely opponent this early, there's 14 games left. Is that an advantage at all, or is it just kind of a thing that's happening?
I think it's just the thing. I wouldn't say it's an advantage. I think any team will tell you they want to make sure that they're going into the playoffs playing and feeling good about their game, where their game's at, right? By breaking it down. Special teams, goaltending, defensive zone, our neutral zone game, our offensive zone game, all's our puck pursuit game. You know what I mean? They'll divide that into so many categories. And I think you want to feel good about where you're at and on an upswing going into the playoffs and not feel that you need to turn on a switch or on and off. It doesn't work when you do that. So whoever you're playing doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You're going to need to have those things on point to make sure that you are able to go through that opponent. It just happens that if it's Dallas, it's a very worthy opponent for the first round. And, somebody that's a good team will be out of it after the first round. That's the nature of the beast, the nature of the NHL playoffs. But I think you just kind of feel good about where your game's at. You feel good about where your combinations are at. That's why you saw some tinkering with the power play. Nelson, Natushkin. Now you went back to was it Joe Druin and Natushkin? And I think you have to tinker a little bit to make sure what do you have, what do you know you have. Some guys are new, some guys bring different skill sets, and the same thing for the PK, same thing for line combinations. And I think what you're seeing on D is what you're going to get, right? You got to probably see EJ and Sam alternating a little bit ultimately to see what's going to happen down there. And now they're going to play their card in the playoff. But that's what you're going to see. And I think in net, we all know McKenzie will be there, and who knows about the line combinations, but they look pretty set to me right now.
Yep. Very set. We do have to go on a tight schedule today. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche post-game show. We will see you tomorrow for the game.
Brought to you by Bet365.
There you go. Thanks, Tiff.
We all silly like the mayor.